Hey guys, this is Bruce Marshall from Simpler Trading with the nightly market update for Monday, September the 8th. I can't believe we're already into September. Pretty non-eventful day today. I've got the ES up here on the chart, and you can see we just kind of did not much at all today, as opposed to last week. We had some pretty wild swings. We'll get into that in just a minute, but I want to talk about the upcoming economic calendar. There are a lot of things coming up that you need to know about if you're trading or even investing or watching this market at all. But first, this is the NASDAQ and the RUT. Let me take those down for right now, and we'll look at the focus on the ES as that is our broad representation of the market. So here, the light gray is the overnight session. This is the cash session, which is now over. Overnight, kind of same thing. You see that blue line right there? That is a voodoo skyline, and we keep kind of coming back and testing it. But let's go back here into last week and take a look at this. So over a 5-day period, if you were watching this on Friday, this is in the pre-market, another new all-time high there, ES 6541. Now we're starting to get a little frothy here, a little extended. Everybody knows that this has been pushing higher for a long time now. After we've had the huge run up, off the low earlier in the year, so the market's moved a crazy amount. Everyone is anticipating a interest rate cut and all that kind of stuff. We'll look at that in just a second. But we came in, this is on Friday. Again, the light gray is the after hours session, the overnight session. Came in here, new all-time high, and then just free fell all the way down here to 64.50 from 65.40. Huge drop down, and then we're kind of making our way back up here today. So let's take this. I like to start small and kind of work our way back out. I like to look at a 20-day chart because that's representative of a month of trading roughly. And as you can see, over the last 20 trading days at least, we've gone from 63.70 to 6,500 or something. So it's not a giant amount, but the moves have been pretty wild. I mean, look at this, up, and then that white line is the voodoo snow line, straight up to our skyline, which is where we were looking at earlier. And then all the way back down, basically there's snow line. We went through it, chop, wild swings, straight back up, right to skyline. Came back down, back to skyline, all the way back down here, retested these levels, all the way back up to new high. And this is new high, new high, new high, that kind of thing. That wasn't. Anyway, been some pretty wild swings. So for the most part, we just maintained some bullish exposure. Now I have gotten in there with my trading group, and we scalped this thing a little bit on the downside, and have some little downside hedges and stuff like that, but nothing major. And I'll show you why. If we take this out and go back to a 1-year chart here, and you can see off the low down here, again, this is ES from 4,800 to 6,500. Now that's a move, right? Let me switch this over, and I'll put Darvas box chart on here, and it kind of cleans it up a little bit. Basically, that is these 3 green lines are 34 EMA or SMA. But as you can see, if you look at this chart, off the low, of course, we're up, and this, we come back to 34, come back to 34, back to 34, and this is very textbook, and we keep coming back, and there's nothing scary about that chart. It looks fine. Yes, we know we're extended and all that kind of stuff. And if you've been looking at charts for a long time, you can kind of see these moving averages are kind of starting to slow down from there. They're not going vertical anymore like this. They're starting to kind of flatten out a little bit, kind of like they're doing over here. I'm not saying that's coming, but it would be healthy if we were to pull back a little bit here. So how are we going to know if we're going to pull back or not? And the first thing we do is to look at our economic calendar, and today's Monday the 8th. Wednesday this week on the 10th, we have PPI, big indicator that the Fed is watching to gauge, data point that they'll look at for cutting rates or not, that kind of thing. Thursday we have CPI, so PPI on Wednesday, CPI on Thursday. Then we have the Fed meeting, on the 17th right there, that Wednesday. So that is when we're going to get the decision on whether we get a rate cut or not. And it's kind of not even we know we're going to get one, right? And if you've been watching this, again, if you've been watching this at all, you already know this, but check this out. So here is our Fed Watch tool. And what this is saying is that for the September 17th Fed meeting, there is an 88% chance of a rate cut. So current rate's 425, 450, current target. So if we go down to 400, 425, that's a 25 basis point rate cut, right? 25 basis point. Now there is about an 11% chance of a 50 basis point rate cut, 0.5%, right? 11%, it's not that great. But we'll watch this, because what will happen on Wednesday when we get PPI and Thursday when we get CPI, this might come down, and say that 88 drops to, I don't know, say 50. I'm just throwing a number out, and this goes up to 50. Then it'll be a 50-50 chance of 25 to 50 basis point rate cut, right? I don't really think that's going to happen, but we don't know, and it absolutely could. So keep an eye on that. That's the Fed Watch tool, and we'll see. We'll know, and I think it's more important on Thursday than Wednesday to look at this. But anyway, pretty interesting stuff's going on. So again, lots coming up in the next 2 weeks. Where might we go if we put our voodoo lines back up here? We can see that we have Snowline here, we have Skyline here, which is lines back up with that August low. If we were to sell off back down here, I think it would be very normal. It would be very healthy. It would help the market to kind of blow off a little steam, regroup for then maybe run higher into the end of the year or something like that. I don't know. A lot's going to depend on what happens with the data and how the Fed interprets that data to make a rate cut, and then what they say about it. If they turn hawkish and say we're not going to cut rates, and it might be a little while or something like that, then look out, we're going down here. Probably that's a fire line, a voodoo fire line. And these are just kind of assumptions, or I wouldn't say guess, but these are levels that we could pull back to, depending on what comes out. So again, watch that stuff very closely. I'm still bullish, and I think we do go higher, because we know now we're already factoring in, or we're thinking we're going to get 5 rate cuts in the next year or so. I mean, that seems a little much to me, but that's just what I'm seeing. That's kind of being kicked around. That'll give us some tailwind for sure, in the market and all that kind of stuff. The one kind of caveat I have with this rate cut for next week is that it might be the "what have you done for me lately" scenario, where everybody knows it's coming. You guys saw it has 88% chance, kind of roughly 90% chance of a rate cut, and we get it. People are not going to be surprised. They're going to say, okay, now what's next? How long is it going to be before we get another rate cut? And then they'll start focusing on the second one. That might not be super bullish for the market. I don't know. We'll have to see what they say, and it will depend on the language, if they're hawkish or dovish or whatever. So we shall see. All right, I don't have any specific trade. There's a lot of good looking charts out there. I'll show you a couple. We'll look real quick, and let me put my grab candles back up here. So as far as the overall market, I mean, we trade the S&P all the time, pretty much every day. I've got some good stuff on there as well. Some of the other names, of course, Apple and the Amazon and all of the Mag 7, all that kind of stuff. We bought AEM as a kind of a counterbalance trade. We bought it way back here to catch this dividend. We've got this dividend and that dividend. We got the stock, and we've been writing cover calls all the way up here. It's been a fantastic trade. Agnico Gold Miners, and again, that's that market goes down, sells off. Gold miners should do well. They've been both kind of trending up actually at the same time. Been really good. That's one in particular. Let's see. I mean, Meta, that looks great to me. Probably still breaks out and goes higher. Looked at Netflix today in the main trading room here, probably for a break higher. Looks pretty good. Didn't do a trade there. We did do a trade here in Rocket Lab, or excuse me, not Rocket Lab. I do have a trade in Rocket Lab, but I was looking at Roblox. Bullish looking chart. I mean, what's not to like about that chart? There's a lot of good names out here. Again, we just have to be, I have some counter trend type trades. I've got some TLT. We've got the AEM, one of my favorite this year. Stocks has been, if my chart will work here, has been calm. I mean, look at that. It's been a great stock. Just what you want to see. It's the most low tech company. This is Cal-Maine Foods, largest egg producer, and I mean, we've just been riding this thing over and over and over. It's been a great trade, and so some of these things you don't always have to have Nvidia and be trading all the wild stuff. We like to trade that, but we don't have 100% of the money in that, so we have some things that offset or counterbalance if the market does get squirrely or sideways or whatever. So anyway, just kind of throwing some ideas out. So anyway, with that, the best thing to do right now is to kind of be on our toes for Wednesday and Thursday this week for what's going to happen with PPI, CPI. Then, of course, the big news next week, that's on Wednesday when the Fed actually makes the announcement. We already know what we think it's going to be, but keep checking that Fed Watch tool, and that'll help as well as we get a little bit closer. So if I can help you, let me know. I'm at Simpler Trading. I run a service called the Bias Room. We do these trades all the time. We talk about the markets and what we're looking for and what might happen. So come join me there. Let me know if I can help. We got a lot of good traders at Simpler. So I'm in the main room a lot. I'm in the Bias Room every day. So come and check it out. So thanks for the time, guys. I appreciate it. Let me know if I can help. Keep on your toes in the next couple of weeks, and I will talk to you at the next update. Thanks. Take care.
Without Simpler Trading, I could not have financial independence.
This is one of the best investments I ever made in my life.
It's helping me find consistency. It's one of the things that won me